Well, today we wanted to hop on here. I have Dr. Kim with me, obviously, and myself to talk about COVID-19 and our marriage and some different things that we can be doing to make sure that our marriage is growing during this time and then we aren't driving each other crazy.
Yeah, I think we have to be intentional. I mean, I think we're trying to find a new normal. I don't think any of us has really figured it out yet, and I think we will. But I think we have to, instead of fighting, we wish it was like that. We got to accept, okay, this is it, and how do we make the best of it? How do we? And because most of us are going to be home together more, how do we make that good? And I think too, having balance in that. I don't know that there's anybody can just sit side by side 24 hours a day all the time. So how do you balance that out? Grow your marriage, respect each other, and at the end of this thinking, man, I hated the whole time of COVID-19, but look what God did. We're closer.
Yeah.
We had more fun with our kids, all those kind of things. That's really and I think it's just a mindset we want to change so we can be an intentional in a positive way instead of a negative way.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think one of the things that has been the best so far for Dylan and I's marriage during this time is just remembering that we need to extend extra grace to each other, right? So, no matter your circumstance, everyone is dealing with stress right now. Everyone is dealing with anxiety. Everyone is to some level or another. Some of us have it worse than others. Some of us have already lost jobs. I mean, this is a terrible situation that we are all in. And so, just recognizing that we all have a lots of, yeah, a lot of things going on. And so to have extreme grace with our husbands, with our wives, and to remember that during this time, that if they're a little extra cranky, if they have an attitude, that we have to extend grace
Right.
on them because they're in the same pressure cooker of emotion that we're into.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we're all just trying to figure it out. And I talked to a couple. Actually, I talked to Neil Smith yesterday, who's a big part of Awesome Marriage. And Neil's is in New York City, he's in Brooklyn. And so they are totally locked in. And just they live in a
Mhm.
small apartment, like most people do in New York City, because it's
Yeah, and with
expensive to
two
live,
kids, they
and
have
with
two
two kids.
daughters.
And so he was sitting there talking, and his wife came through, and she said, I'm going to the bathroom. He said, okay. And he said, I don't have to go to the bathroom. I've just got to get away for a few minutes. So she goes to the bathroom and just stays there. I mean, I think you've got to have some separation. That's what Nancy and I are trying to figure out. Just some normal routine in our day. When I'm working, she's working at home now. Then, we're having lunch together, which we don't usually do at home because we're usually not together at that much. And so looking for those things, we're trying to find fun things to watch together. I think I've got couples that are doing board games and stuff like that. We have a little trouble with those because we're both very competitive. We kind of quit doing them early in marriage because it would cause fights, but we may try that again because hopefully we're more mature now. But as far as the
Hopefully.
competitiveness, I don't know. I just don't know how that's going to
Yeah,
go.
some couples can't do that, and that's
So
okay
yeah,
if
yeah.
you're not that
And
couple. Do
so
a puzzle instead.
yes, and so yeah, puzzles are a great thing to do.
Mhm.
Do a puzzle together, and just look for some creative things to do. Maybe you decide to do some. For me, there are some things I've been wanting to do around the house for a while. I talked to a friend yesterday, and he had 30 bags of mulch delivered, and so he's working through doing a few of those every day to just kind of get his bed tread a little earlier than he usually would. So look for
Mhm.
some things to do. I think having that feeling of accomplishment each day, there's some, as a guy, it's really important. So if I have a little task I can do and it's done, I still get that feeling of importance. I think it gives us more time to pray together, to read the
Mm.
word together, to grow spiritually together. So I think what I'm saying is just look for some options that maybe you wouldn't look like otherwise.
Yeah. And I think look for ways to serve one another in this time, right? So
Yes.
it's a really hard balance that we're in of like, yes, let's extend extra grace to each other, but also I'm struggling over here too. So I'm gonna need you to be nicer to me, like where
Yeah.
it's like it goes both ways. And so it's just a really, really hard circumstance that we're all in. But look for ways to serve each other. So one simple way that Dylan is serving me right now. So Dylan is a pastor, he works at church and we have our own space at the church. So he is still actually going into work because he's quarantined there anyways. There's no one there. So he's there up at church by himself, but that way he gets away from our
Right.
tiny home with our two young children who are very loud.
Yep.
And so he's been going away, which has been good for him to be able to concentrate into work. But he also recognizes that I'm home with two kids. My day to day hasn't changed a ton because I work from home and my work is
Right.
still I still
Right.
have a job, which is such a blessing. But and I have my two kids, which I normally always had. But the way it has changed is I used to be able to go do things for the children all the time, and
Yeah.
now I can't. And so it's
Yeah.
the taking care of the kids has become a lot harder because they're cooped up because they can't go places to see their friends and they miss their friends, and they can't do the fun things that we used to go do, like story time, Chick-fil-A, all the fun things,
Yeah,
playgrounds, parks, and stuff like that. And so
I
one
know.
way Dylan has found to serve me is he's been coming home earlier in the evenings and giving me a break before I have to start cooking dinner. So he comes home and he plays with the kids for like an hour and just gives me a break from them because they're harder to entertain, and so they're driving me crazy. And so that's one
Exactly.
way that's one way that he's serving me. And then for him, I just know he like, being a pastor of a church in a time like this where he's trying to figure out how to love the congregation and love the city
Yeah.
in this bizarre time is very stressful. And so when I've been trying to keep the house quiet in the mornings and let him sleep later, his schedule is more flexible right now because he doesn't have to meet people up at church like he used to have a bunch of meetings and now he doesn't. So his schedule is a little bit more flexible. He can work in the evenings after the kids go to bed. And so I've been trying to let him sleep. So look for ways like that. Like, what does your spouse, everyone's different. What does your spouse need in this time? And how can you serve them well during the season?
That's so good. And I think a lot of people that are in a situation similar to you and Dylan, that where the mom is home a lot, working from home, or maybe a stay-at-home mom. As guys, we're coming into their world, and they're not used to us being there all the time. The kids aren't used to being there all the time. And for me, I think it's honoring our wife. That is kind of her domain during that time, even though you're the leader of the home. And so, kind of fall into their schedule and then add some things in because you're there. Don't come in and try to take over. I don't think that's the healthiest thing to do.
Yeah. I think another thing that's been really helpful for us and that our counselor, so we were lucky enough, our marriage counselor does a Zoom appointment still. So we actually had a Zoom appointment this Monday, and that was really helpful. So if you guys have a marriage counselor or want to find one, setting up a Zoom appointment in this time would not
Right.
be a bad idea to go ahead and pay for counseling and just do it via Zoom or Skype or Google Hangout. I would say it's just as effective. And so I know, Dr. Kim, you do Zoom appointments all the
It is, and
time.
it's amazing. Even the couple of people I've had that maybe it's a little awkward at first. Once we're talking 3 or 4 minutes, they're really into it, and you're face to face. And I mean, we're used to looking at screens anyway. You
Yeah,
know,
definitely. And so that was really helpful for us to check in with him, and he gave us some tips. And one of the things that he said that was really helpful was he said, it's really going to be important for both of your mental health to stay active. So find a way to work out, so find a way to move your body in this time.
so
And
good.
so there's so many free workout plans right now that are online where people are just being really generous and giving stuff away because they know the gyms are closed. So
Yeah,
normally Dylan and I both go to the YMCA on a regular basis, and we can't because
yeah,
the YMCA is closed.
yep.
And so I've been using for girls, I wouldn't recommend this for guys, but the girls, there's the Tone It Up app, and it's free, an extended free trial of it. They've extended it because of this crisis that our nation is in, and it's been really great. And the workouts are killer. And so that's a great
That's
way. They're
good.
short workouts. They're great for moms because, like, one of the program that I'm doing right now is a 14-day ab workout, and it focuses on the core and the legs, and it's 20 to 25 minutes a day. And it's like, but it's a great workout for 25 minutes, and I can do it while the kids are around because it's short.
Yes. That's
So,
I think it is. It's thinking outside the box a little bit, and I think you're right. There's so many things out there. People are being so generous, stepping up, all that kind of stuff. And so I think that it gives you it's a great time to take advantage of some of those things. And maybe you haven't been exercising. Why not now? Because you don't want
mhm,
to go through this and gain an extra 20 pounds, or I don't. And so, I want to exercise. I got up early and ran this morning before anybody in the neighborhood was up. But it's good.
yeah, and it's good for your
It,
mental health. Those
oh,
endorphins, because we're all stressed, because we're all
yeah.
cooped up, it is just a great thing to do, and it will improve your marriage for your mental health to be a healthy you makes for a healthy marriage, and so do that in this time. And then I would also say our date designs, we put all 3 of our date designs out on our website for free. You can grab that on our Instagram in our bio, or we've also posted it, in the email if you're subscribed to our One Thing email. If you can't find them, let us know, and we'll get them to you. You can email us at info@awesomemarriage.com. But all 3 of those dates are really like well thought out, and they're totally at home, the dates. And so they're things that you can do all from home. And the thing that we've heard the most about those dates too is you can kind of break them up into multiple dates because there's a lot of content in there because we realize that not everything works for every couple. And so we try to put several activities in each date. And a lot of people have said, hey, we actually like all the activities. So this ends up being one date, ends up being like 3 dates for us. And
Yeah,
so that's just something to do in the evening. So take advantage of that opportunity, those date designs that we're giving out for free. I think it'll really help connect you in this time.
yeah, do that. And I think if you haven't subscribed to the One Thing email, it does give you one thing each day, Monday through Friday, that you can do for your email. It's one thing email. I got it scrolling at the bottom there, and you just go there and you subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and you can you could be together. You can do those intentionally together every single day.
Yeah, that's good, that's good. What other advice do you have for us, Dr. Kim? What can we do in this time to make sure that the enemy doesn't use this time to eat away at our marriages and for us to work against each other, but rather to work together and to thrive in our
Yeah,
marriage?
I think praying together, it'd be a great time to begin to do that and start where you're comfortable. If it's just saying, hey, make a list of things we want to pray about, we'll both pray silently or you pray together out loud. It doesn't really matter. But praying for your marriage during this time, praying for you to have patience with each other, help your and to be, and I think this is a time you've got to really be honest with each other. If you're fearful, a lot of times that comes out as anger. And
Mhm.
so if you're fearful,
Good
talk to your
point.
spouse, just say, I'm fearful. Or if your spouse is being angry, just say, hey, are you afraid right now about
Mhm.
this? And I think any of those things, that just talking about these things, this is the first time I think we've had anything that any of us felt like nobody's got a clue or it's out
Mhm.
of control. We can't do anything about it. And for a lot of us, that's hard because we're used to being able to fix things or do something about it. Or I'll get a shot. It'll be okay. I got my flu
Mhm.
shot last fall. It'll be okay.
Mhm.
So those kind of things. And so until we get some more answers, just being honest with each other, talking about it, but don't let it consume you. That's another thing I wanted to bring up. I would limit the time you're watching TV. We're doing an evening catch up, and that's it right now, because it can just consume you. And right now, you're not hearing anything good, probably. And so, why do that? Spend the time together. Don't dwell on those things. And I think any time that you're sharing, and that gives you a chance to talk things through and to pray about it, those kind of things. So, I
Yeah,
think that'd be
that's
really good.
good. Yeah, I agree. I think, just staying off of social media sometimes too with that, not only the news updates and the news apps and the news tweets and watching the news, but, everyone's posting about it right now too, and I don't know how helpful that is on a regular basis to be consuming that and to make it your whole world right now, and so just being conscious of that, of, like, input, output, like, what we put in is what we get out, and so just being
Yep.
conscious of what you're putting in when it comes to this and maybe following some more hopeful things. Like, I've been following a few ladies on Instagram who are just really encouraging during this time and really prayerful about the COVID-19 situation and also remembering who God is in the situation. So it's not this like fear domineering content that's really scary and gives me anxiety. It's like, oh man, like this is hard and we're going to grieve this and we're going to feel our feelings, but also we're going to remember our eternal hope and our living hope of Jesus Christ.
Absolutely.
And I
No,
think, yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna reiterate that, and I think that maybe the people that are listening and see this later, that you just say, I'm gonna post positive things. I'm gonna post something positive every day. Maybe
Mhm.
it's a
Good.
saying, maybe it's a verse, maybe whatever it is, but just what if we all just encouraged each other through this? And then the ones that are on there, people that are hurting, we can encourage them and help them. So, we all have a chance, I think, to really reach out and minister to other people right now because of social media.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hopeful things about this
Yeah,
dark time is, man, I'm hopeful for, like, revival. I think a lot of people are gonna be hungry for God in this situation, and
I
so
totally
let
agree.
let's be the light in that. Another thing that has been really helpful for me because 'cause I'm not normally an anxious person, but I'll be honest, this has gotten me anxious, and so one thing that has been really helpful and has relieved my anxiety is just when I start to feel very anxious, remembering who God is and all of that. So,
Mm,
like, really that comparing and contrasting, like, our situation to God. The fact that, our circumstances are really uncertain, but God never changes. We're homebound, but God remains boundless. We're really limited in what we can do and where we can go right now, and God remains limitless.
yeah,
We might get sick, and we're worried about getting sick, and we're worried about what that means for our family, especially those that are the most vulnerable. And yet, there's a place in heaven where there is no sickness, and
yeah,
we're guaranteed that
yeah.
as Christ followers. And so, just comparing our situation to what we know to be true about God is just really hopeful to me.
I think so too. I mean, he really is our source. He has an answer to all of this. It didn't surprise him. And so I think it's just trusting him in this. And, he's going to take care of us one way or the other. And I think just knowing that and seeking him each day and letting him give you a peace each day, because he will give you that. I posted earlier a deal that I heard from a pastor say. I've heard it earlier in the week, and he was just saying that, don't quit worrying because God's already in tomorrow, and give him his job back. You stay today. Today is enough. And I think one day at a time, that principle that you've heard from AA and so many other places, one day at a time is really it right now.
Yeah.
Take today, what you can do today, love your family, enjoy your family, post positive things. And then tomorrow you can see what you need to do tomorrow, but just take it
Yeah.
a day at a time.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what tomorrow's going to bring,
Yeah. We
but you
just
do
can't
know what's today.
Yeah, we just can't look that far ahead right now, unfortunately,
No,
but
no.
the only thing you can look ahead to is eternity, right? And so finding hope in
Yes,
that and what heaven looks like. And then I love what you said about prayer, Dr. Kim. I think spending time in prayer with our spouses is really key right now. We're actually working on a resource right now that's gonna be a bunch of guided prayers for the specific situation that we're all facing with this
right.
coronavirus. So be tuning in for that. We should be able to post it, I hope, by the end of next week. Just guided prayers just to make your prayer time a little bit easier where you can set your focus on God and lift up these people and the situation that our world is in to the one who can actually make the changes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been a cool conversation. Any other things that you want to share? Any last piece of information with our listeners today?
We we can't do this without talking about sex.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, absolutely. I have talked to several, wives lately and just talking about how, yeah, like, their husbands are kinda cranky, like, let's be serious, like, we're all kinda cranky, not just their husbands, but I
Yep.
just encourage the wives that I've talked to, "Hey, I don't know about you, but my husband's a lot less cranky when, we're having more frequent sex," and so I would say take advantage of this homebound situation and have more sex. It's a mental health thing. Those endorphins are good for you. It's cardio. It's which is good for you in this season. It's getting your body moving, that's for sure. And so I think I that's just a prescription. I think from Awesome Marriage, from us to you, your prescription to have a good marriage during this weird time we're in, have more sex.
Yeah. No, I think there's so many good things that come out of a sexual relationship. I mean, people can laugh and stuff like that, but it draws you closer together. It gives you some enjoyment. It's closeness. There's so many positive things to do there. I would say too, I put thoughtsomemarriage.com, our website. If you haven't been there, there's all kinds of free resources there. You can look through our YouVersion reading plans on the YouVersion Bible app. Do some of those together. Grow your marriage during this time. So there's a lot of things you can do right now that really can help you in a positive way to just go through this and say, man, our marriage is so much better after we went through this together.
Yeah, that's good. I love that. Well, this has been fun to chat today. If you have questions, if you need prayer, never hesitate to reach out to us. You can message us on Instagram or you can email us at info@awesomemarriage.com.
Thanks for joining us.